Hey everybody, Daryl Davey here with Oak and Hollow Games, and I'm wishing you all a wonderful start to the summer for those of you who are getting their summer break or just getting out and enjoying the lovely weather we've had. It's been a little while since I've done an update. Life has been hectic. Finishing up, for those of you who may not know, my day job is a level 4 para. So our school year is over, and finally that means I have some time to kick into summer. And hopefully that means a lot more time to start getting back on projects and working and keeping you guys all updated on what's going on and catching up on some things that have kind of slacked. I mentioned a few times before that this spring and late winter were a lot busier than normally are, so didn't get quite as far on some of these projects as I was hoping to. But that doesn't mean that things weren't going on in the background. But with new printer and setting up the workshop different and the new work computer and everything else, there's been some very good big upgrades that were needed. And that took up a lot of what would normally be some of our time. Sorry, I've got a bit of a box here. So, I kind of said that in the past before, so we don't need to go on that too much. Hello! I'm not sure if it's going to pop up with who is watching, but thank you for joining in on this early Monday morning anyways. So, yes. So, diving into it, some of the things that we have going on. Capture the Flag, Andrew has made some new designs, and I used a few of those to make more updated cards for Capture the Flag. Those should be arriving here probably within the next week, I'd expect. I'm only getting a single round of them, so that usually goes a little bit faster. And I'm trying them in a hard plastic to see if what I think about those, see how the colors look on it, see how the images look. And I think for being one of our playground games, having that hard plastic might be more beneficial to, kids are playing with it more often, or you're out camping, or it's rugged. It's going to keep the durability of those cards up, and hopefully prevent too much damage or it gets wet or something like that. And that's not a for sure thing. I have to see how the price scales for going out, because again, we don't want that game to be a super expensive game. So just trying to kind of figure out that, but we'll see. And then also as we play test with it to see if the image scratches off at all, how durable the cards themselves are. So those, again, should be hopefully arriving. If you want to see his designs, he's put a post up about a month ago on some of the stuff, and it looks spectacular. I am not the layout design guy like he is, or graphic designs guy, and I've kind of done what I could with my limited talent to get to where we are, but I think moving forward we're going to be using his skills to help us make things look even nicer. And that may mean some facelifts for the designs of the All Hallows Eve cards. Probably none of the pictures or anything, but just the cards themselves, the layout on those might be due for an update. Just make them look a little more crisp and a little more nice. Logo will probably stay the same, but I could see the front of the cards looking a little bit more professionally done than, again, I'm capable of doing. So that's that. Playtesting has gone really well. I've been doing that with some of the kids at school. Everyone seems to really enjoy it. Seeing about speed and how big of a play field we want has been nice to work on that. And speaking of playtesting, I'm hoping to do more of the public ones again. We were going to have one 2 weeks ago, and then my wife ended up having to have surgery on the day we had scheduled it, so I nixed it, and it's just been recovery time for that. So I wanted to make sure that she's okay and we're good at the house before we start rolling into those gears again. But the intent was to do it at Gameplay Stay. Not to say that we still won't do some playtest nights in the workshop here, but for getting the more broad public to come in and go, it's just more comfortable for everybody to have a public space to go to. And they have tables and food and chairs and stuff, and it's, you know, it's nice to get folks in there as well. So I believe moving forward, we are going to try to have most of our official playtest nights, public playtest nights for, at Gameplay State, which would be pretty cool. You see some stuff in front of me. That is sort of today's project. These are... I think that was in the camera before, is a box of all the test prints I have been running for the new printer. And a large amount of these are salvageable, at least in part where maybe the whole print didn't work out. We lost a couple of pieces here or there, but a majority of the pieces printed out. So I want to make sure I'm not wasting those as long as they look nice and they're up to snuff. I'm going to be using those in updated boxes, but at the same time, I just hate wasting stuff. I'd rather not waste anything, but it was absolutely needed to dial that machine in, and after our last successful print, I haven't tried a full print again, because I have this big box of shame I need to work through and trim and see if that is our final thing. Now, the question that comes of it, why I've been hesitant, is I'm used to the monsters having the sprues. The sprues, for anybody not familiar, are these little trees that grow up and help support, well, they're supports or sprues, I call them sprues, the 3D printing design. As it prints down, it makes these, and then it grabs onto all little bits, and so, like, if there is a piece that's floating way out here that would start printing sooner, normally it would fail because there's nothing holding on to it. With this support here, it allows it to have something to grab onto until those other layers catch up, and then can start printing. But there is an art to this. There's an auto support placer on the program that I use, and I think it works really well. But it's just a lot. Right? And I don't know how much is necessary. I don't know if I could save some. So that's resin use, that's time use. Not as much time on this as maybe a PLA one, because it takes longer to have to print that one. These are all kind of going at the same time. So maybe it doesn't save me a lot of time, but I mean, between the three of them, that could have been an entire other figure worth of resin, right? And they do need some supports. Originally, I would print them with their bases down. Let's see, do I have any of that? This one here. Nope, lost it. So I print them with their bases down, so those supports would come up from the base and support whatever's up there. With the new printer, I'm not sure if it's just stronger, if there's some different parameters. I have not successfully been able to print them on their bases. What's nice about that is it's less support. But if a majority of them aren't turning out each and every time and I have to clean, that costs me time, it costs me stress, safety, so on and so forth, just with handling resin and whatnot. So I want to avoid that. Then the normal way of what most people do, that's probably not the best way to do it anyways, is to have the supports. But that then means that the backs, I've taken a few off, aren't quite as crisp and clear. You can kind of see it's not going to probably autofocus too well, but it's bumpy. The rest of the model looks pretty nice, you know, typical features, but not a little bit better than my old printers. But the back gets these little bumps and ridges where those are. Now, there are settings where the contact points aren't as deep or as wide as I have them currently, and I've monkeyed with it a little bit. But again, it comes down to the point of how much can I take away? How little do I need where those prints aren't going to fail? And then the less of those points that stick to it mean the less cleaning I need to do, and the easier it is to take them off. Like, you see in some where the people just, like, peel it off, and with these smaller ones, like the trick-or-treaters, I can probably do it. I tried it with an extra cog that I had, and immediately broke the arm off of its base. I could kind of probably fix it, but again, these were all tests, so anything I do with these are just to see how things go anyways. But as an example, people who have really good supports, or you get an STL that has pre-supported from the company, these are made by us. Jeff, a friend of ours, designs our monster models. I do the trick-or-treaters and all the other stuff. But you're supposed to be able to just like peel it off. But look, broke a base off, broke his leg off, and I already broke his arm off on another one. So that means I need to then snip each one of those individual things, which can also lead to breaking on accident, because I do this pre-curing. I don't know. Some people do it before they cure it. That's where you set the UV light on and it hardens it. I like having a little bit of flexibility in it as I'm snipping, so it's not so brittle. Maybe someone has done this a lot more than I have in that regard, and they say, no, do it the other way, and then it'll come off easier. I might throw a couple of these through today to test that, where, okay, these little guys, they work fine. Can I just pull them off easier if they are, if they're cured, as opposed to not being cured yet. Or do I have to go through and snip each individual one of these, which then requires me to wear safety glasses, gloves, all the hoodads, and I mean, that's a lot. That's a lot of stuff for one little model. I don't think it needs that much support. But I don't want these turning out crappy. And with the time that we have, and, finances being what they are, I don't want to go through a whole other bottle of resin trying to test to see if each one works or not. Maybe just smaller batches, and I'd have to do it that way. But that's kind of the sticking point right now. Again, all things that need to get dialed down, and kind of once I get a handle on that, it'll be better. So if there's anybody out there who has experience in supporting 3D resin models, please reach out. It would be extremely useful for me to know that knowledge, and not have to bash my way through it like I do a lot of things. If I have to, I will, but maybe someone out there does a lot of this stuff for more fun than business, and has been able to have success. The tokens themselves come off easy enough. That's really nice. That wasn't always the case with the last ones, but these snip right off, so the tokens are fine in that regard. But the time it saves me printing everything all in one on the big one may end up be then taken up with me snipping each one of these. Maybe I just have a day where I get a bunch of friends over and we all just trim, and that's just part of the process now, and I order them pizza or something and call it a day. Could be fun, but I also don't want to inconvenience other folks and take up an afternoon to sit here and trim resin. So, things to juggle. The next problem we have to overcome is that the Northern Printery closed down about 2 months. I think it was back in February. We had a lot of family stuff going on at the time, and I somehow missed the announcement. I saw that it was in the paper, and I thought he was going to be retiring shortly afterwards, and turns out that he was retiring then. He is the one, or they are the ones that printed our stickers for our boxes, which has been a nice alternative workaround to having boxes with printed labels on there, which saves me and consumer about $10 to $15 a box just for having the things printed on there. So instead we do stickers, cut them out by hand and stick them to the side. And they turn out really nice. I think they still look really fine and really nice, but he's done. The intent was to contact him and see if we could purchase one of his printers that he's been using for us. If he's going on business anyways, maybe we get a deal on it. Bada bing, bada boom, we've got our printer, and that might mean we could even print our own tiles, and the only thing I'd have to then order out, and rule books I would have to order out for would be the cards. So it'll be a good investment if that works. Sent out an email last week, have not heard back yet. I don't know if I expect to. I'm going to see if I can track down another means of contact. I don't want to bother him, but it'd be huge for us to be able to see if we get a deal on a printer like that, a big scale printer, and see. So kind of missed the boat on that. I'm upset with myself that I wasn't a little more on it. excuses can be made, but that's all they are, is excuses. So, hoping that I hear from them. If not, I'm going to try to hunt down a little bit more information, see if I can contact them, and if not, I will just keep an eye out for businesses and stuff that might be going out that have printers. Otherwise, I would assume that Community Print can also do it. I believe tomorrow, if not today, but probably tomorrow, I'm going to run to Community Print with one of the sticker sheets I have left, and ask them if that's something that they are capable of doing. Again, I would expect that they would be, but I can't make promises. If they can't, and if we can't get a hold of printers, I'm going to be very worried on what our boxes are going to be looking like, especially for the convention coming up in August. That gives us a couple of months to look into it. We could find another printer place that would probably do it. I'm not sweating it, but I am a little apprehensive of what that's going to look like. So those are some of the things that are on the back burner as we are going into our next run of things. Most of the run is going to be for the TeebCon. Again, that's August 24th and 25th. And you can find details on our page here for that. I think we're going to do a run of 15 Skirmish and All Hallows Eve for that. And I still have Krusty Ray stuff left over. And I think I have enough leftover pieces and boxes and stuff to maybe make another 3. But I believe those are all going to go, of each game, but I believe those are all going to go to Gameplay Stay. Skirmish, they've been asking for a couple copies for there, which is our brick and mortar store that we sell things in. Or sell things through, I suppose. So, that's all on the plate. A fun thing that I suppose I can talk about now. I will share pictures and more information after the event, but next week we were asked to host a game night for the employees at Gordy's. So it's a private event, but Gordy's employees are going to be coming after hours to get to play some Oaken Hollow games. So we're going to give them a quick overview of what we do, and tell them about some future projects coming out. And then I believe my plan, depending on if I can get a couple assistants to help, is to set up a game of Skirmish and set up a game of All Hallows Eve and kind of mediate those, and then leave Plunder and Capture the Flag at a table to have people play test as well if they're interested. I think they said there's at least 12 or so folks coming to this thing, if not more. So that'll be a really, really cool way to do it, and a really fun place to do a game night. I've always kind of wanted to do that. So the stars aligned on that. So if you're a Gordy's employee, there's a perk of working there. It should be pretty fun. Join us. I'd love to see you there. And I do have a secret thing brewed up, which I will talk about after for the rest of the group, but Gordy's employees will get to see a project that we've been working on early for All Hallows Eve. Those keen-eyed watchers and listeners may have a clue of what I might be bringing there, but let's keep that a secret between us until after the event, which will be sometime early next week. So, for those employees there, look forward to that. I'm very excited for it, and I hope that we can get a couple rounds of stuff through, a couple rounds of Skirmish, probably one game of All Hallows Eve going at the same time, and then just leave things out for other people to play with. And I might be posting, just have a list of, the projects that we have coming up, and then you can have some input on some things that you might be interested in. So yeah, that's kind of where we're at. I'm trying to think if there's any other big things. I've rambled on for a little while here now, but I believe that is most of the updates. I do hope to have Capture the Flag out by this summer. I think that is entirely feasible, and probably sell at least alpha or beta copies at TeebCon. So that's my goal for that. I still need to start working on the collaboration with Christopher Mim, now that we have a little bit more time. That kind of got put on the back burner for this TeebCon, and with the new printer, just wanted to make sure things are working there, and then that we're going to get back on track with that most of the cards are done. It's at the point of needing just play testing, so that'll be some of those open play test nights that we'll be doing. We'll be doing that and testing out Graveyard Smash more on the public level, because there's probably still a little bit more work, and I would hope to have the Graveyard Smash expansion out by fall, and then quickly followed by the Christopher Min collaboration. Yeah, as well as Capture the Flag, and then hopefully Plunder. We might have somebody online finally for some artwork for Plunder, which is pretty sweet. Nothing guaranteed, but someone who I put my trust in fully. And yeah, just kind of look into that. So, those are the updates. I hope you all have a wonderful